Hello, and in this video I'm going to show you how I made this Scout Trooper helmet from cardboard. So first I started off with the kind of snout area of the design, just using these templates that I had made, using the polystyrene head method I have used before. Just starting with the front, it's fairly easy, so then I can work back like I usually do. This is the eye area piece. And the idea is I'd make all these pieces and then all these main pieces, and then they can come together afterwards. And then here I'm just working on the back piece. This is made up of 3 strips that come together, and they kind of have these little slits in them to kind of angle them off at some areas. Then here I'm just gluing the 3 pieces together, gluing on the inside of the pieces. It just makes all my seams a lot neater. That's the back piece done, and it looks quite wide right now because it hasn't been bent around the helmet yet. And now the other piece to work on is the back tube, and this went through a lot of different stages because it was very hard to do, very hard to just get the templates to work with the design. It's just something I had to develop over time, so this is the first try I think, and then I didn't bother filming the rest of them because it was just doing the same thing over and over and over again. That's the piece which will go around the back of the helmet, and then finally it was the top piece that needed to be made before I could put all the pieces together. And I really like the design. I like how flat the top of the head is. I just think it's pretty original, and it just looks great. But then once I had that, then it was time for the kind of visor piece, which is I think the most iconic part of this design of this helmet. And I really just do like the design. It's just really cool. And now I had all the pieces that I can now glue together. And here I'm just using the polystyrene head I used to make the templates, and I'm gluing the templates together on top of it, just pinning the pieces together and then gluing it. This is a method I haven't really done before of assembling the helmet on the head, and I won't do it again because it was quite hard to get off afterwards. It was quite difficult to get it off. And now it was time to glue on the visor piece. I glued on these kind of just detail pieces to the side of the visor. Then here's the final back piece going on, and it actually fits nicely on. This kind of tube part. And now it was time to cut out the front snout piece. And for painting I just used this kind of like white spray paint, basically just white primer spray paint. And now here I'm kind of creating the details for the front snout piece and kind of using a Stanley knife to carve this little piece of wood I have here, just a piece of scrap really, to make this kind of like vent detail that, you know, the helmet has, to make it look like it has some kind of technical use. And then I just glued it to a piece of card, and that was all ready for some grey paint. This is just some like Airfix model paint, using this kind of like Lego paint tray that I had made for doing kind of like model kind of pieces like this. And this paint, you know, I didn't buy it especially for it, it's just stuff I had about, and here I am just painting some more detail pieces, and then I'm just using, you know, blue tack and a pin to make some stencils for more of the grey areas. And I'm just kind of doing the same thing with this detail piece. It's like some symbol and it looks just really cool. Just using that paint again, and then the 3 strikes in the middle. Now I could glue on the kind of detail snout piece that I had made. This just goes like underneath it kind of, and then I just use this kind of guide piece to stick on the detail kind of rivet kind of areas that the visor has. Now it's time for some more paint, just some black paint in the tube area at the back, and also 2 detail pieces. And now it's time to work on that snout piece at the front, and for that I have this kind of like rim area that I painted black, and that piece that I was just showing there is actually just a blob of hot glue basically. It's basically just I pump some hot glue into a kind of ring, and then I use the ring as kind of a mould, and then I just, you know, use that as that front detail piece, which works quite well. And now here I'm just working on these kind of trapezium areas at the back, and just using that grey model paint again to just fill in those areas. And for the kind of lines on those pieces, I just used a Sharpie. And now it was for the visor. So for this I just used a clear piece of acetate to go on the inside to kind of give it that shiny surface, and then I used some, see-through kind of tight fabric, and then I just used one more layer of clear acetate and glued that on, and then that was the visor done. And then the final piece that I needed to glue on was this piece of EVA foam just to pad where my nose would sit, and that was the whole helmet kind of done there.